Thank you, Melissa. I just wanted to get up here real quick. Hi, I'm Robin, by the way. I just wanted to get up here real quick and introduce our features for today, who traveled all the way from Philly. So, claps to that. Thank you guys so much for making the trek. I'm not going to say everything right now because I prepared a little mental speech for when I get up, but I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming out. And our first performer will be Noah David Roberts, who has just released a collection of poems called What I Do in the Dark. It is amazing. Along with that, they have like four other collections of poetry that will hopefully be for sale today. Among those is Slime Thing, Strips, Us versus Them, and Final Girl Mythos. I got it. And after Noah David Roberts will be Lindsay Hargrave, who just released Computer Baby, right after their first collection of poems, Rot. And both amazing collections will also be for sale today. And yeah, they're going to be reading a bunch of stuff from those books, I hope, along with other stuff that they've been writing recently. And without further ado, Noah David Roberts.
Greenkill, it's good to be back. How are we doing tonight? Are we doing good? Hello. Okay, I have kind of a really fun set tonight, actually. I'm going to read some stuff that I wrote while I was doing Voiceless. So I'm going to start with an excerpt from Strips, if I can find it. I didn't plan on doing this, but on the way here, I was thinking it would be really fun because this year is the 5th anniversary of Strips' release, earlier this summer. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from Strip 3. And I just want to say I love Greenkill. I love being here. It is so good to be back. Thank you all. For the girl I had wanted to love when I was a mind and not a poem. For the one I thought to have wronged in the reel of the cortex, a diluted reel, it is a crumble of marble or regret I tend to vomit when there is enough bile in the throat. I was one body of many bodies, of many desaturated fears, because I did not hope to turn again. The rats in the city, I eat charcoal, experience of hallucinogens. I did not turn toward that candle, a walking shadow is she now, an image of memory, melancholia, for the girl I had wanted to love at once here and not here when I was a mind and not a poem. When I was a body and not yet a poem given into the propaganda of the state, I gave into the propaganda of the state. Printing ideology and expensive papers, the lie of the real has been evicted, pushed out like a spinal surgery. I lost my memory, tainted by mania of us. I think it is in the images of the true mind. I hope in Coldwater Tenement she dreams of reality. Thank you. All right, so this next poem is new. It's very new. New shit, there it is. How new is it? Like a month maybe? Like a month new? Yeah, but new to the stage. So this one is titled Drifting Through False Front Western Architecture. The thing about a ghost town is that the inhabitants are translucent, which means I can see trueness in capillary skin. Chain railings and chicken wire rust in early summer, the shade of the sun nothing can evade. My eagerness for this illuminating vision propels my aloneness. And I want you to kiss me in my water mouth, drinking from salacious overflow and transitory desire. This arsenic is water, drink of me and slow. A body is a bottle cracking under hot liquid. Crossed arms bear the mark of a venomous jawbone, lip to lip with a cage, but I'm unsure. In the small muscles on my contorted back, in my sinew and bone, I begin to fade like memories of apparitions and closets. Ghost stories are a little played out, don't you think? A vaporous viper will always sift to silt, fangs and all my love. A page left blank like entire spaces of time. When I was a kid, I stepped on a hornet's nest, and now the grass is seeded differently. Thanks. It's so good to be back at Greenkill. This feels like slipping into a hot tub or something. Oh my God, I've missed this place. All right, this next one I wrote about 6 months ago, and it's in a book I have coming out in September, but don't tell anyone. It's titled "The Bird Perches on My Ribs." This is a story, the embroidered seams of what seems to be real burning down with the terror in the wall. I hallucinate and place rocks on the graves of the damned, place bits of cut-off skin to my lips. There's a stone fruit rotting on my windowsill, and all I can think is, this is my body, imperfect and impressionable. Memories are held in the muscles, emptiness held in the skull, bags under my eyes and ready to leap from buildings. My past selves are ghosts and have inhabited the urns which house the ashes of perishable idols. A tree sprouts from my torso, Acer Saccharum. Transformative Tantalaian punishments under an ugly sky with thunder, and my arms are outstretched to its clouds. Overdosing on Klonopin wasn't enough. I had to scream at my father and lock myself in a white room where there are bubbles of drool hanging from my tongue, blood streams from my temple where there are burn marks. There was a blood alcohol content of 0.28 when they pumped my stomach. I am on drugs and pay gladly for my destruction. There have been times where I've swung sledgehammers at rocks which have been thrown through windows, times where I've left knife scars on my neck, times where I have placed my lips to the chests of beautiful bodies. Molotov cocktails spin towards those I kiss. I'm at home here in the archaeological act of placing letters to my fingertips. And I've lived in this body for so long that it is incidental with the mask of the enemy, and I am not one of them. I misread horoscopes, and tarot decks inform me that I will not live past 24. It's too late for that desecration now. I've defied all of the old gods, no matter how hard I've tried to fulfill prophecies of pejorative degradation. I grew up with my grandmother, and when she died, I poisoned myself with the same acidic toxicant that almost killed me, lived with an animal who saved my life, tried to die twice, and twice failed. I ask my friends to place pistol whips to my forehead, pray to the holiness that has become me to create new worlds in the psychotic mind. All this I present to you, a ribbon holding my skull to my neck, the only thing keeping me alive. A statue has broken arms until it is restored by wrinkled hands in an autopsy room. Outside, a sparrow on a telephone pole lets loose a melody, and there is nothing like there is love whispered into my ear by voices disembodied. It is an ugly thing that I see when I am asleep, wrapped in bandages, arteries outstretched to medical machines, and there is nothing like there is love whispered into my ear by the ones who scribble notes on the cast that surrounds my revelation. There is a forest inside my body, and I am preventing flames from spreading as I transform into the angel that I once was again. Thank you. All right, this next one is almost brand new, so it's titled Snake. Well, not because it's brand new, but it's titled Snake and brand new. Okay, anyway. Backing its way down the stairs, stretching its back along the stairs, elongated python which doesn't stare at me anymore. I just know it's there all the time. Long neck and head and tongue hovering above. I don't talk and the python doesn't either. And my floorboards make screaming sounds when I feel sort of bad, or worse, the python enters my sleep and I see you. And immersion deity, you are the closest thing to the python that I will ever love. Your own fucked upness itself, hovering long hours in quiet. I feel like I fucked up my 20s, by the way. There's a dirty glass at the bottom of my sink, sank with bubbles, stinking soap, snake tongue tells all anyway, acidic like grief, stands at the top of a stairwell, tightening a glove, dispersing into shadow with the python. To the python, apocalypse means to reveal a secret. To me, it means saying what I need to say. Cool. Thanks. All right, this next poem is titled Poet Blueprint. It is making fun of poets, so don't think I'm being super serious. But it's also in a book, the same book that I have coming out in September, so keep your eyes out. Okay, Poet Blueprint. You have to be insane to have lost your mind. You, overwhelmed with distrust, you overcome with the shakes. You have to cut yourself to rags and tie them around trees, looping ribbons of flesh around bark-collared trunks. You have to desecrate, you have to scream at your parents when you took acid at 19. You have to steal from them, you have to tell them you're worthless. They have to hit you when you're young. You have to wrap your fingers around the shaft of a hammer, swinging towards the window. Glass explodes, leaving slivers in your hands and face. You throw up when you try Oxy for the first time. You have to try Oxy for the first time. You have to be poor in the slums of capitalist hellholes, have to be degraded, having no worth, waste your money on tattoos and drinks, manically tongue someone else's mouth. You have to walk through rag and rudder down the trail to the lake of dark water where you were born. You have to be immune to communion and a rebellion of love. A puritanical heart never got anyone anywhere. You have to be a slut when the apocalypse comes. The more bodies for the pile, the better. You have to get in fights and be knocked down by officers, have to storm away and run off and abandon and torture all those you love, have to watch as they do the same. You have to not know anything else than this. You have to be flagellated like that guy in Da Vinci Code, worn with scars and teary-eyed. You have to try to die, and you have to let this inform your thirst for living. All of this I've done, and it's brought me here, and all of this is bullshit. Thank you. Woo. All right, this next one is old, and none of you have heard it, I don't think. Oh my God, wow. Okay, Bone River. I wrote this one in 2021. Return then to the place in which you grew. Go back to the broken baseboards, slipping blinds and cabinet doors cracking, to overgrown lawns. Return to the yelling and the yard full of bones. Through dusty gray skies and tree trunks, travel back through stumps in the road and pavement holes. Potholes lead you out of the city and don't bring you back to it. Pass through rivers, fields with floating grain and sunflowers. T.S. Eliot told me fear death by water, so I don't swim anymore in the dark water that took my grandmother. I don't swim anymore in the city. Step down large stone stairs from the shrine upon the pedestal you've built. Climb down the mountainous peaks and boulder through the forest. Drag your body through razor blades and cigarette burns. Tear your clothing upon the rebar that shines, stabbing out of the pavement like the knife that cut me when I was young, now rusted in a drawer near my bedside. Walk through rag and rudder. Talk through the crazy, get high through the hallucination, step after step into the dark water. Tire screech on thin layer of dirt upon broken asphalt. Know that all you love will leave. Know that it is precious and to be treasured. Know that you are chased by a dog from hell. Know that its bites cause scars. Know that the angry dog you are chased by is the same dog that screamed in the night. Know that maturation is a sign towards miracle. The growth is a form of magic on its own. Speak then, say, welcome. Return with knowledge, with value and truth to the place of your birth. Dark water you came from, and dark water to which you will return. Dark water that swells in the bloodstream, dark water that makes the stomach go bad. Dark water in the arms and genitals of a stranger. Dark water in suicide, dark water in silence and in masks. Dark water drank from the chalice of ignorance. Go back to where you were a child, remembering those things, staring at the mountains like they are stripping naked in front of you. Look upon the hateful nature around. Look at the falls, the liquid crashing down, the rocks melding and molded to fit. Look at the bottom of the river. How many corpses capitulate its existence? Return then to the ode which began your childhood. Look around you. Tears stream down cheeks, forgiveness found only in the water, in the well. Love found in a paper cup in the small back room of a public center. Look around you, surrounded by lakes and bloodstreams, surrounded by paranoid marrow, traced by blood cells. All of this now bone, all of this now eroded away by the river. Thank you. All right, I have two more poems. I should have warned everyone this is going to be kind of a sad set, but I figure all of you know me, so like that's kind of normal. When I get on stage, it's like, let's get sad. So this next one is in the same book I have coming out next month. I'm reading a lot of poems from that book. It's titled Mutable Forest, and it's about turning into a tree. But this one is titled I'm a Fucked Up Psychic, and in my dream I lit your car on fire. Brush the cobwebs from my ceiling and name me a martyr. I am desecrated upon stone stairs in the Adirondacks. And the light of my life in the lantern withers, and the wick is burning down, and there is a lizard upon my skin. It has come with blessing and driven me to insanity. And if I am insane, let me be insane. And if there is nothing true to me, then there are moths flocking to my eyelids. Glowing body apotheosis, and I am the haunting apparition of your mansion and mind, and there is nothing in there but hatred, for I am the desecrator of all that you and I love. And I am a fucked up psychic, and in my premonitory dreams I see my own death and become an anxious mess in this place of rope and needle. And a psych ward is hardly a place for a mind reader, and I've seen the future, and it is brightly lit with candles and dusty illuminations wherein hides our epiphanous tragedy. I've hidden all that I love and removed my own teeth and jawbone unhinged at the sound of my own shriek. Thanks. All right, this next poem's my last one, so I can get the fuck out of your hair. But I guess I will say one more thing before I go, which is I have books for sale. I mainly have copies of strips. I have one copy left of What I Do in the Dark. So if you're interested, come chat. This last poem is actually really fun. So I wrote this poem back when I was doing Voiceless. So some of you might recognize it, but I've edited over the years. So it's like kind of different, but like, I don't know, to me, it's like one of my favorite poems I've written, Conjecture. Because I have killed the brain of mercy with anger and poison and hate in my eyelids. There is a corpse, dirty in the night, in an empty, fearful grave. Did your death haunt these words? I came to the city to destroy my fear, came to the city to hear your music. There is tension in the air. Do you know what I mean? Dirty statue, the shell of a statue, a smiling statue having no knowledge. I approach the figure and whisper to the pavement my greatest elations and traumas, throw poison in the faces of the crowd. But what is heard over the miscellany of the insect of me? Do I scribble entropy and externality through these words? Should I deface the statue in the eyeline of the low summer sun, burn the remains of the body before me, who once spoke to me in a dream, fell in faraway love, and died of consumption? Only then shall I accept this whisper of immortality, defacement, pleasure, tragedy, treasure, bad weather. Only upon looking upon the oppressor shall there be an endless list of atrocities, all amid a world of bad faith. I will mince the senses in dream states. I will not disappoint again. I will not adhere to reality. The body before me taught me to be whole, and I will prepare my alibi amongst the terminals of time and commit atrocities in return. I ignore their pleas. I fight back a long line of corpses, and I am the end, the beginning, and the lie I tell myself at night. I was not warned of what it meant to be, but I am delusional. Or what of my desire to be clean in the grave, revolting in both senses? You are too inconsistent to be an angel, too rash, too drunk. They say I am no longer human, illumined by the rumination of my horror, my ailments. I accept that now I am the poem coming through your eyes and ears, and like the whisper of the pavement and the paling of the street, I'm gone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Noah. Yeah, so crazy for you to be the feature and me to be the host. When it was like the other way around, it feels like just yesterday. Yeah, just a little bit of context. I really didn't give a great introduction, but Noah used to host the open mic here at Greenkill when I first started performing here as a wee little lass. And they were hosting it well before I came here, but this was my introduction to Greenkill was Noah, essentially. So to have them be here and read their amazing poetry and also stuff from that era, it feels like perfect, kind of. If you could like put a feeling to perfect, that's what it would be to me. Yeah, and I also forgot to mention our theme for tonight. How crazy of me. It is Apocalypse Baby for the Apocalypse poet themselves, and for Computer Baby from Lindsay Hargrave, who is, nice transition, our next reader.
Woo!
Thank you so much, Robin, and thank you so much, Greenkill, for having us. I am going to start off reading from Computer Baby. I'm going to start with the title poem. Let's just get into it. It's every man's Y2K, a common story. You moved away, made your grail from copper, shook your head at TSA. They miss you, you know, and the venom in your baby teeth says you miss them too. You're wireless, and even when you're all lit up, it kills you. I'm going to read a few poems from Computer Baby, just sort of right in a row. The next one is called Daffodils Part 2. This place smells like mint again, which means it's spring, it's March, it's only fucking Tuesday, and the produce needs to last all week. But it smells like mint again, which means one of three things. Either the mice are back, daffodils are coming early, or this nightmare is recurring. It's always something. Last year's bedbugs, this year's disappointing, next year's bottleneck came too soon. Thank you. I'm going to read a piece called Keep Digging next, and this is another piece that kind of like transformed over time. It was published like a year ago, and then I decided I wanted to make changes to it. In the beginning, there were M&Ms. And you told me each point of matter was one piece of candy. Many M&Ms create a tissue, a larger pointillism. And M&Ms were fine until I found you uprooting potatoes, real ones, not candy, up from under your pillow. I asked how they got there, and you said you were sorry. They had always been growing. You weren't quite sure how to tell me, but you've been pulling potatoes for quite some time now. I can see you're embarrassed. Nothing quite like the impotency of too few teachable moments when caught with your fingers in the dirt. So you baptize the potatoes with wine and with cumin, neither of which are made from M&Ms, but you keep CNN on at a low hum at all hours. You raise the potatoes alongside your children. The M&Ms are just an illusion at that point, an aphorism with no meat, but to you, those potato eyes can see, and their impulses buzz with the years you remember. You, who went to graveyards to snort dust and inhale fumes. You, death oracle looking for your own reflection in twisted steel. You, savior of poor tubers, trapped beneath rubble, passive in the blue reporter glow. You, drowner of sorrows in sugars, kissing buried root vegetables until your teeth are black with dirt. So when Robin told me the theme was Apocalypse Baby, I was like, awesome, perfect, say no more. So the next poem I'm going to read is called Vermin and Gold, and it's about microplastics. I was thinking about archaeology and the British show Detectorists when I wrote it. Detectorists. Yeah, it's a good show, right? Yeah, so I was thinking about the theme song and sort of the imagery during the theme song and how like there's an artifact under the dirt. And I was like, oh my God, if you did that in America, you would find microplastics. So that's what this poem's about. There were kings in the silicon, golden spoils in this pyramid. They will survive the apocalypse and the next one, microscopically becoming everything. One watches from below the division of empires. One, that the land returns to its people. 2, that the gold returns to its land. 3, that the refuse is the only coffin he can cling to while the birds shovel him out. His kingdom once drilled the water table for its empire into the ancestors to distill the king, a piece of him poisoning and irreversible, barren and invisible, kingdom where centuries on, for worms and for shit, they grow no richer, eternal toxin in our boneyard. Thank you. I'm going to pause between like books and read a new poem.
You should.
Thank you. This is for all the Twin Peaks fans and Black Magic fans. I used to masquerade as Nadine Hurley to keep the mystic about me in the midst of powerful fools. I don't know if they know my real name, but I am a poet and married now. I found attainment in the White Lodge and the Black, came out on Earth 17 again and wise with middle age. I'm not Nadine, but I know her much better now. I'm not a magician, but I know how to be one. I'm not a god, but I know how to love like one. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to read some poems from my first book. I have copies of both these books for sale, by the way. I've only got one copy left, much like Noah, of my latest book, but I fear not. I have a QR code. You can order them online. The cool thing about this book is I actually don't make any money from this because the proceeds go to abortion funds in southern states where abortion is like really heavily restricted. That's through a foundation called ARC Southeast. If you have questions, come see me. But just so you know, buying this book goes to a great cause. I'm gonna read about three poems from this one. This one's called Song. Bless the vantage point and the conscience, the silent nature in maturity's phases, the muscle cramps and oxygen poor, the breathing deep and measured steps, the life insurance policies and family albums, neat pill organizers and dry cleaners, the legal documents signing milestones in champagne and silver, City Hall imposing, the pain of routine, the city's gooey affection growing all over desolation, the hospital smell, the subway smell, the newborn smell, and the smell of garbage burning. This one is called Which Way Does the Sun Rise? Those nests we pick together by hand, the grayest by virtue of dead wood, neatly dotted, porous so abundantly the holes fall together like sand. You step back and they form a portrait of an ancestor, of no one in particular. A butterfly curve just like your parents' driveway, like a compass in your ears. The magnet drive to polarize your sphere, sink into comfortable duality is a folk magic of separation, creation, and the secret between them. Where the volts hit the air is where I'm asking to look. The one to none, the not the way. Ask where the pylons will be on treasure maps and what bloods they shed. Which steel nests will we die for? What secret lies between them? And do we feel it like spring when it comes? Thank you guys so much. I'm going to read one more poem. Thank you guys again for having us as features. This has been such a fun day. This is a poem I wrote to perform with musicians, and I was talking to Noah earlier about how I'm trying to be more confident when I read like prosy poems without a band or any musicians to accompany me. So this is part of a tarot series I did for the Universe card, and it's the last poem in Rot. Slice the film, face the music, peel back the sticky traps that block synapses like arteries ripe with grease, not cohesive, coagulated mass growths like mold spots in old kombucha, just conscious curtains too thick to think they direct direction anywhere concrete, like endless septic, each one identical, each one more horrible, each one a liar and duplicating itself of growing its nose because something that obvious would probably defeat the purpose. So the leap of faith must be to drill a hole in otherwise styrofoam, to start the opening, the package without breaking any fingers and inhaling spheres in scale, ideally a bubble to the brain, or better yet, a space lodged in the sinus cavity for discreteness and aphorism access, but for just a little while try to hold the weightless gaze and wonder at actually, here, look back. Here, don't look down. Here, find the universe. To a spring clean, to a spring wiping scars in filth, to force an opening and fuck the void from below until you can wedge your elbows over the edges to get a better view. Outside in provides a worthy lens, though beware the flipping image. Throw up your gaze and bleach your face with purple earth and space dust in cosmic elevators. Find the entrance that begs reflection, a retrospect at every doorstep, an ascendance in miniature, an initiation in temporary stasis, for paths that hold you by the hips, to prevent you further drifting one way or the other, viewing a smooth surface so simple yet concrete that the charm of the well-round is that it is the foothold, though slippery, to pores beneath, but unseen if you dare. Here, look ahead to blinding towers. Here, a microscope, twin poles, and equal gravity. Here, find the universe between the slides. I do not know how to make you feel things with shapes or names of words. When you are not a name, you are a sound. Thank you, Greenkill.